Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to make ears. And the same technique will apply for any animal, any color of ears. And I'm just for fun, I thought it would be fun to do this. We're all going to be doing this white unicorn with the turquoise hoofs and the rainbow mane. But if you take the class again, or if you order another kit, you can do it in this aqua blue. So I'm going to, I thought it would be fun and a good excuse to swap out my fleece for the pink. So hopefully this will all show up well. So it's the same technique. You just be doing, you choose the color of the ears based on what you're making, and then you change the shape of the ears based on what you're making. But it's a little different technique from what we've been doing, because we are going to make them flat and separate pieces and then attach them. So let me show you what we're going to do. So these ears, they're actually a very similar shape to what we would do for the lamb. It's just going to be this kind of almost a leaf shape. The bunny would be very similar, just longer. And then the bunny ears you can attach floppy or straight up. So a lot of it's where we attach the ears. You see on the unicorn, they're attached closer behind the eyes. So anyway, but the way we make the ear itself is we take poofs of wool and we're going to lay them out flat. Just like, this is probably even more important than the eyes to get them about even. There's something in there, I'm going to pick that out. That happens. These are very much natural materials, and you're going to find little bits of, they call it VM, vegetable matter. It's really just straw. They might have got caught in the sheep's hair. So anyway, I'm going to lay those pieces out, and rather than try to do the shape right away, which you'd really poke your fingers if you were trying to do, what I do is I poke this down flat. Now this is where you can really wear out your foam. Everything else we've been doing, we haven't really been poking into the foam, but when you do a lot of flat felting, and I used to do a lot more flat felting, you really wear out the foam if you poke hard. And just be aware when you're flat felting, you don't want to felt it so much that it sticks here. So I'm going to peel this up very gently. Make sure it's not sticking. And then you're like, that does not look like an ear yet. No, it does not. So this is what I do. So I get that holding together a little bit first. Then I'm going to use my needle. Now you could make yourself a template. If you're really having trouble, I can draw something and send you a template, but I like people to try to make up their own thing. Everybody has a different style, but I use my needle to poke the shape. So here, can you see the shape I've poked there? And then I fold. This is a trick. It took me years to figure this out, because if you were to try to like just poke that in sideways, you'd really hurt your finger. But I fold this over and then I poke it down. It makes this really nice line from where I did the poking and folding, and I do it the other way. And like that. You could make these ears, I don't know, for the unicorn. I've never seen a unicorn. I don't know what exactly the shape of the ear is, so I'm making these sort of like I would imagine a horse ear. And I'm making it very similar to the way I'd make the lamb's ear. And like I said, the bunny would just be a longer ear. Something like the hedgehog, you would make more circular. Now, if you notice, I'm leaving all this loose edge here. I do not felt wherever the ear is going to get attached, I leave that loose. And that's because this is true of anything. Anytime you're making something that you're going to attach, it's much easier to attach unfelted wool than if you have two things that are very well felted. It's very difficult to get them to attach together without adding lots more fresh wool on. So I like to leave that fresh unfelted wool at the base. Now, again, I don't want this to stick, so every once in a while I'm going to very gently peel this off. I'm going to flip this over and pull the other side. Okay, now I'm going to do the other one, and you kind of use the first one as a template for your second one. So like again, I just want to get this holding together a little bit. Very gently peel, flip it. Then I can use this as a template to mark the line. I usually just do it freehand. It works, and like I said, if you want to request templates for anything, just let me know. But I think that's part of the beauty of needle felting, is you're not really following a pattern, and it doesn't have to be exactly like the samples. You're making it your own version from scratch. Okay, so, and I'm just going to really quickly show you a tool that you may, if you're doing a lot of flat felting, or if you really get into this, just even for making, even just for, that's all I ever use it for is ears, but there's a punch tool. And this, you can fit 4 or 5 needles in, and then it has a spring action, and you can, it's a little quicker for this kind of stuff. So I don't like to use it for anything 3-dimensional, because it would just, it's not precise enough with so many needles, and it's also very, it's very springy, and you can hurt yourself. So make sure you lock it if you use one of these before you put it away. All right, so now I have my ears with the unfelted bottoms. They would get, see, normally I would do the eyes first, so you could see that this gets attached behind the eyes, and I think I'll show the attaching now, but we'll also show it in live class in relation to the eyeballs, but I'll just make an eye socket for now on these. So I'm gonna poke that in. Like I said, I always look from the top to see that they're lining up this way. And these kind of eyes, you can't really see both at the same time so much anyway, but okay. The other thing you may want to do, let me get a little pink wool, because you don't have to do this, and you can just do it later as like a poof rather than, let me show you that. In the pig, I kind of just make the ear the solid color and then put a kind of loose poof gets attached, and we'll do that in live class. And then there's other things like the sheep where this pink inside the ears is felted onto the ear. So you could do it, sometimes you really want, like for the bunny rabbit, you'd really want to do it in advance unless you'd want this to be really hairy. It's works better to leave the little poof when it's a smaller ear. Like this is just a poof of wool loosely felted into the hedgehog ear too. So for this, I'm going to do this unicorn ear the way, you can see this unicorn also has the pink felted in there. I'm going to do it the same way I would do the sheep ears and the bunny ears. And what you want to do is you want to get a little bit of pink. It's kind of up to you how defined you want this to be. I sometimes just do a little hint, and I sometimes make it a real defined strip of pink. But the real trick to this is that you don't want it going through to the other side. So, and you know, be gentle on yourselves the first time it might go through. So that you see that I have these felted pink on the front and on the back of the ears. You don't see that pink. Let me see this one. You don't see the pink on the backs of the ears. So the way I do that, and is that I very gently poke, and the needle's really on a sharp angle so that it's not, you hear the crunch noise when you're going into the foam. That means if it's going into the foam, the wool's also going to go all the way through to the back side. So I'll show you that, but I could show you that in a live class. But for now, I'm going to show you that if I go really gently, I can get it poked in there without it going through. Here, I'll show you at the base where it won't even show. I'll poke this in. I'm really poking through. You can see that the pink came through the back. So I do that on both ears, And I will show, let me just show how to attach the ear. This is really the same. You get to shape the ear a little more now, even by the way you pinch the base of it. So some ears you'll want to do this more than others. And then I'm going to pinch this and hold it where I want it, which usually for these I like it right pretty high on the head, sticking straight up right behind the eye. And then I'm going to hold it with my, well, it depends whether you're right-handed or left-handed. I'm going to hold this steady right where I put it. And then I'm going to tack down this loose wool. And I'm really going to get the base in there, and then see that where I folded it, I'm going to do that. And then you really want to check every once in a while how that's looking from the front. And then what you might have to do, if this is messy, which it very well could be, is take a little more of your color after your, and I really like to tug on these to test them. So I would want to poke this a whole lot more before I tested it. It's mean when you pull the ear off. So I would put a little bit more wool on the back of this. Once I know it's really attached really well, I could put a piece of wool and like I've been showing you, feather the edges so this blends in. And get that smooth again. Now it depends on the animal whether this is even going to show. The nice thing about the lamb and the hedgehog as first projects is that the point where you're attaching the ears from the, you will cover that with the longer hair and you won't see it. But on something like the unicorn and the pig and the bunny, you're going to see all those points of attachment and you'll want to fix them up nice when you're done. So I'll end that there, but I would obviously make the other ear and then very carefully position it to be the same. And then if they want it being a little off, first of all, that might be totally adorable and fine. And if they're not the way you like them, you can keep felting until you can reposition it slightly by felting with the needle. So, and then you'll have an adorable animal with ears, which would be even more adorable when they have eyes and a mane and all the other cute things. We'll keep going.